What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and this is my bad. Got to mess up one time. All right. What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and I'm here with Greg McGarity, and this is the Tax Layer Gator Bowl Drive to Selection show presented by Toyota, where each and every week we go over the landscape of college football in the ACC and the SEC and how it relates to the Tax Layer Gator Bowl played here on December 27th, prime time in the beautiful city of Jacksonville, Florida. What's going on, Greg? How you doing?
Great. All is well, and looking forward to another action-packed weekend of college football.
We had a good weekend last weekend in general, not just with college football, but just to talk to people about. We have the annual Chairman's Club weekend held at the Omni Resort on Amelia Island, which it happens to be where one of the teams that gets the opportunity to play for the Tax Layer Gator Bowl gets to stay on the beach, beautiful.
They've struggled offensively, but the one thing they have not done is they haven't quit. I mean, they really play hard. They've had some struggles there. So as an athletic director, I look at sort of the intangibles. How are they handling practice? What's the tone of the team? And I'm not in any one of those locker rooms, but those are things that I would look for is the level of discipline. I think there's some issues there maybe Florida's had off the field that could be concerning because you need every ounce of your energy focused on making your team better, and you can't pay attention to the outside noise. And so it's a tough evaluation period. It's the hardest thing probably athletic directors have to do because football is the cash cow for all these institutions. So it's just a very deliberate process, and I wouldn't want to be in either one of those shoes at Clemson or Florida.
Definitely understand that. So we talked about some of the bigger ones. Oh,
Mhm.
also, why is 0-2?
The tiebreakers are already in place. And if you're competing against a team that both of you have 2 losses, and that tiebreaker's really gonna come into play. So, uh, I don't know how many teams competing in the conference championship have 2 losses or more. Probably very few. So, you've got to run the table, and then you've gotta have some help. And, the both conferences are so difficult this year, that may come into play. So, it may be not that surprising to see a 2-loss team be in the ACC championship game or the SEC championship game.
Um, we talked about the bigger games that happen.
Mhm.
We got a chance to also see Florida State come out
Yeah.
and establish dominance again against a weaker opponent, but doing what they're supposed to do. What are some of the surprises in both conferences before we get into this weekend's games as far as teams go?
Well, I think Vandy in the SEC has a chance to go 5-0 before they face Alabama. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card beforehand, but I think a lot of it is Texas. This week is so pivotal in the SEC because you've got Ole Miss hosting LSU. That's a game that's gonna one of those teams will probably drop in the college football playoff. You've got Georgia, Alabama. You've got Tennessee at Mississippi State, which is a dangerous game for Tennessee. Mississippi State's undefeated. They're coming in with a lot of juice, and that's a very difficult place to play. But and Auburn at A&M, as we mentioned earlier, that's a difficult environment to play in. And Auburn back to back, that's pretty tough stuff there. But really the only game in the ACC this week that really has a tremendous impact is FSU at Virginia on Friday night in Charlottesville. But a lot of really difficult games coming up that'll really have an impact. But people don't need to panic. It's not the end of the year. I know it. I know it's we're reaching the midpoint of the year. It's hard to believe
Yeah.
in a few weeks we'll be at the midpoint of the year. But a lot of games are going to really have a tremendous impact on both championships this weekend.
Yeah, FSU gets the opportunity to show if they're for real.
Mhm.
Was last year a fluke, or were they really trending from the 10 and
Yeah.
3, 13 and 1? Are they going back toward that thing? A lot of hype, a lot of fun. Again, setting up for
Mhm.
a good matchup between FSU
Yeah.
and Miami on October 4th. Um, what are some of the teams right now that we should be watching? Obviously, everybody's on the table, but based upon what we've seen in this first part of the season, who are some teams that we feel may be able to fall into our pool, and how is that pool selected?
Well, if the season ended today, 5 SEC teams would play up, and then the remaining teams would be in our pool along with 6 other bowls. So a lot of those teams are going to, and the SEC are going to knock each other off during the year, and especially coming up this weekend. But um, we would basically teams that have 10 wins or more, which I think they're going to be a large number in the SEC and the ACC this year. It's going to be a very strong pool. But I think 9 or 8 wins. I think teams are going to have at least 8 wins this year to be in our game. Of course, last year's game, both teams, had more than 8 wins. Is very impressive. So I just think you have to look during the season, and teams that are supposed to win games, they need to win those games. But I think it's going to take nine wins, at least 9 wins to get in this year.
Okay, and some of those teams that we're looking for that we'll have to pick. Obviously, the
Yeah,
college football playoff
right.
gets their selection, and we're in a pool with
Mhm.
three other bowls
In
for I
the
believe
ACC,
for the
yeah, yeah,
ACC, San Diego,
and Orlando in the
Orlando,
ACC. Yeah.
and then us. Orlando's Pop Tarts,
Yes,
right? And
correct.
then SEC is Tampa.
Yeah, Orlando gets the first pick,
Okay,
so they get a pick, and then we're in there with 5 other bowls, including Nashville, Charlotte this year, Tampa, Houston, Memphis, that all come into play, and of course Jacksonville. So we're all in the mix, and hopefully there'll be some regionality um, impacting this year's game. Last year, neither team was really in our region, but in the past, we've had good success with teams that are in our area that can drive within 6 hours. So, that bodes well. We're hoping Auburn has a really good year. It'd be good to have them back here. Hadn't been back here in decades. Hopefully Florida can get their act together. They're off this week, but then they've got Texas at home. So, it'd be great if Florida could have a resurgence here and play well. And obviously, Florida State probably has aspirations to play in the college football playoff, but they've got a long road to go too. So, but they're in position. They're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination, and have no indicators to show that they wouldn't be among the top 10 teams in the country.
Oh, that's some good words right there. Again, so we could beat the experts. What are some things? What are some disqualifiers for the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl?
Well, you can't have rematches of last year's bowl game. You couldn't even have Duke or Duke in our game this year. You couldn't have Ole Miss in our game. You don't want to have bowl fatigue. You really try to avoid matchups in bowl games last year, or even games that are on the schedule in 2026. So those things come into play, and you want a little variation there. And you would hope that teams that played this year or last year or the year before may not be able to be in our game either, because it just provides a little break for the fans. And we want people to come into Jacksonville and experience it, and the teams to enjoy all the wonderful things that we have in North Florida that certainly add to a phenomenal week. So we just know that we won't have Ole Miss or Duke this year, and then we all move on to the other teams in the conference.
All right. Well, there you have it. We talked about last week's games, exciting games that we're looking for, especially on the SEC slate. A little bit more competitive. Friday night tells us a lot about the ACC as well. A lot of other good college football going on. Be grateful. It's going by fast. We waited all year to get to this, and then now it feels like it's almost away for us. Some of us are very excited, try to savor every moment of the big three. That'd be FSU and Miami. Some of us are kind of like, all right, well, what else are we going to do on Saturdays? Got to get some hobbies, Florida fans, but help is on the way. And every week, the help will come on the way with me at Big Game James _36 and Greg McGarity, as we bring you the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl Drive to Selection show presented by Toyota. We will see you guys next week.